This is War Room Moments, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and most relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. War Room Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Here's your host, Jason Miller.
Hey, welcome to the War Room today. Excited to really have another great episode of the War Room. And sometimes I say I have special guests on. Well, truly Norb is a special guest. We've known each other for years, has to have been at least 10 years, maybe even longer than that by now. But you know, and we've ran in a lot of the same business trails for a while, some good, some bad, but plenty of good stories and some rough ones too. So, Norb, it's great to have you on, brother. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. My pleasure. It's an honor to be here. Really excited to have this conversation. It's an opportunity for us to kind of catch up. Our journeys have taken us into different paths, but always really good to reconnect with a fellow entrepreneur and learn through our journeys, both successes and failures, as we were talking about.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, give the group just a little 30-second background about you and what your superpower is.
Okay, yeah, for sure. We'll be talking a little bit more about my story, so I'll try to keep this really brief. I got involved in the digital marketing space. I have no formal marketing or business training, knowledge, or background. I went to theater school to be an actor, and I dropped out halfway through. And then I was a snowboard bum for a few years, living up on a ski hill and just enjoying my life in my early 20s. And I found myself in entrepreneurship, in sales initially, and then eventually entrepreneurship. I got interested in online marketing, specifically affiliate marketing and direct response marketing around 2006, 2007. And then I was lucky enough to meet a couple of partners. We partnered together. We started a digital education company, a membership site, a training company back in 2008. And we hit it. Our first year, we did $2.2 million. And that was kind of the beginning of our entrepreneurial career. We ran that company for 15 years successfully, which is quite a testament in the online space to run a company for that long. And just recently, we wound that company down for various reasons, which we might bring up. And we've now started a brand new company just in this past year. So it's really exciting to be in a startup phase and taking all the knowledge and experience that we've learned over the last 15 years and now applying it to a brand new business. And with this company, digitalmentors.com, I'm a co-founder with 3 other partners, and we help people take their knowledge and skill sets and turn it into a mentorship business through digital courses and coaching programs.
Yeah, awesome, man. There's a little bit of excitement behind, a startup, right?
Oh, yeah.
For like the first year, you got freaking alcohol pumping through your veins every day, and you're up and drinking coffee, bloodshot eyes.
It's a grind, and it is. It's exciting. It's a bit of, for us, I think we're both, and I think entrepreneurs naturally are a little bit of adrenaline junkies.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's why we kind of thrive in this environment of, stress, high pressure. There's a lot of pressure when you're in a startup. Like, cash flow is your lifeblood. And if you're not generating enough cash flow, the business is done unless you can bring some money in or whatever. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of unknowns. Everyone's wearing multiple hats. There's a lot of tension in the air as well, like especially with 4 partners.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own opinions and their own perspectives. You've got to alleviate personalities. There's a lot going on. And at the same time, there's that feeling of potential and opportunity because you see there's a whole runway ahead that you can see of the possibility and the potential of where you can take that company. And I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. Well, that kind of, that leads into, kind of your journey. And what I'm always curious, and I honestly, I've known you for years and I don't even know the answer to this, but did you grow up in a family of entrepreneurs?
No. Yeah, not at all. So I'm an immigrant, actually a refugee, which is kind of cool.
Ah,
I like to say that we were actually refugees. We escaped communist Poland in 1981
mm,
before the revolution, the Solidarity Revolution, and before all the Polish people started escaping in like 82, 83, 84. We were one of the first. My dad actually worked for the communist government. He was not a communist in any sense, but he worked for the government and he heard rumblings. And so he was like, I got to get my family out of here. And so we literally we left separately, my mom with me and my dad with my sister. They wouldn't let a whole family cross the border because they
mm,
didn't want you to leave. But we were able to leave separately. They couldn't tell their parents that we were leaving. It was that type
mm,
of a thing because you never know who would turn on you. This is the kind of stuff that you live with in a communist country. And so we escaped. We came to Canada in like 1982. My dad had a couple of $100s in his pockets. We got to live with his sister in Toronto, and he had to take, Kentucky Fried Chicken delivery jobs in a beat up car to try to make ends meet. He worked in the factory all his life. And so I was raised in a blue collar family with the
mm.
idea that life is a struggle. Money is tough. Money is easy come, easy go. I had no inspiration, no motivation, no mentors in my life that could show me business, that could show me entrepreneurship, that could show me a better way. But I knew that I didn't want to go the traditional route. My sister was going down the career path, university, marketing, business, corporate job, and I knew that I didn't want that. I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew I didn't
Mm.
want that. And that's what
Right.
kind of led me down my alternative path, where I went down theater and then started snowboarding. And then I found network marketing. And that was really what introduced me to the world of sales, direct response marketing, personal development and entrepreneurship. I kind of call it like a gateway drug into entrepreneurship, network marketing. And it was a blessing for me at that time.
Yeah.
And then it's just all self-taught, learning sales skills, learning communication skills, learning leadership skills. I mean, I was a kid in network marketing trying to pitch people on a business opportunity. I had no influence. I had no money. I had no contacts, no network. And so, you feel like a nobody and you have no
Uh,
idea what direction to take. And that kind of started my next 6, 8 years of personal growth and personal development. And I always say to everybody, you're going to pay for your education one way or another, right? I didn't pay for a
mm.
business degree, but I paid for my business degree.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. That's the funny thing when you think about like business. I have a master's in business and all that hoo-ha crap, right? And it's done nothing for me. And I always tell people my real master's degree came from YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where it came from. And I
right.
go way back to like 15 years ago. I used to follow this idiot called King Human, right? And he was always just this complete jackass, right? He'd like wearing these weird glasses with the eyeballs falling out and this, that, and the other stuff, right? And he was always, here's the next making money thing, right? And that's what got me started on the whole eBay thing, right?
Mhm.
Selling freaking flashy fingertip gloves and sparkly teeth and all kinds of weird stuff. And the education comes in a lot of forms, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
To
yeah.
include a lot of failure, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think there's any guarantee that like this education is going to do it for you. As long as just go
Hmm.
to university and get your degree and you'll be good. You'll be fine. Your
Uh,
life will be a success. It doesn't work that way. Go buy this course or go hire this mentor and everything it just doesn't work that way. Right. Just because one
right.
thing worked for one person doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. In the end, it's your journey, man. And you're going to have to take your journey, and nobody knows what that journey is going to look like except, you and God, I guess.
Yeah, right. It's like my son says, you know, you have a bad day. He's like, you know what, Dad? Don't worry about it. Just be you. I mean,
How old's your son?
7,
Yeah,
and it's like,
that's the
I
best
mean,
wisdom.
that is freaking pure like enlightenment right there, right? And it's just like, man, we just forget to think like that though, right?
Yeah.
we don't have that. It's like we lose all sense of being creative once we hit 40.
Mm. I think kids can give you that perspective. I know my kids are a
Yeah.
huge inspiration to me. My daughter is incredible creative. She's a teenager
Mhm.
now. She's 17, but she's just constant go, 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 constantly creating, thinking up ideas. She's writing a book, she's doing editing, she's like painting pictures. She's just constantly like create her the world to her is just one big canvas,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And
cool too.
to get that inspiration from your kids, and I think they make us a little more youthful sometimes because we can get a
Mhm.
little bit jaded, maybe stuck
Yeah.
in our ways, maybe we stop dreaming. But when you have kids, you see the wonder that they have, the way that they look at the world, that anything's possible, and maybe it is.
Yeah. Well, and they're not exposed to all the crap yet either,
Yeah,
right? And that's the part where, man, just think if at our ages we'd never been exposed to anything horrible,
yeah.
right? Think of where our minds would go. And I mean, I think I still get pretty creative with things, and but that's just kind of taking yourself and shoving yourself in a bubble sometimes and getting away from like the normal stuff.
Mm.
And it's like I tell people all the time, shit, get on a plane, fly to Florida or whichever one's closer, go to Disney for 2 days. I mean, you go there, you got a whole different perspective. We spent a week there just this last fall. I didn't want to leave. I was
Mm.
like, this is like, can I just get more of this in my life? I just want to
Yeah.
live in this freaking fairy tale for the rest of my life, where Mickey Mouse is jumping around me and we're just having a good time. Because
I
it
think
makes you feel like a kid again, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man, we need that as business owners, as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I think we take ourselves way too seriously 90% of the time. And I
Yeah,
mean, hey, for good reason. You know, we have bills to
right,
pay, we have staff to take care of, employees to take care of. We have responsibilities, right?
right, right.
And at the same time, like if we truly want to be effective, I think what you're saying there is you've got to take that time away. You got to step away
Mhm.
from your business sometimes, whether it's a morning walk, right? Just to clear your
Sure.
head, or it's prayer or meditation, or it's a vacation. You
Hmm.
have to step away from a business. I know for me, I've solved when I think back to all the problems that we've had over the last 15, 16 years, when I think about when I come up with solutions, it's not when I'm stressing out over the problem.
Right.
It's usually when I'm doing something completely different. I'm out on a bike ride, I'm out with my kids, I'm in the shower, whatever. That's usually when the solution comes.
Hmm.
It's not when I'm like, oh, I got to solve this problem. I got to fix this problem. I got to figure this out.
Right.
Right? You allow yourself, you give yourself that space, give yourself that ability to look at things from a different perspective, like you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And you have to put yourself in situations sometimes that, I mean, for lack of better words, you just don't give a shit what happens that day.
Yeah.
And whatever, because there's a freaking shit sandwich almost every day, right? And it's just part of life. If it isn't in your business, well, your
Your
kid
life.
was your kid was cussing at school and or freaking threw a pipe wrench at somebody at school or some shit, right? I don't know where I just came up with that, but whatever. But then it's on both sides, right? So it's always something.
You know
Like
what?
this week for me, right? It was
Yeah.
like this 911, that 911, this 911, so on and so forth. And it's like the one thing I have really learned is be really, really, really what's the word? Like short-minded,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right? You just have to be able to like clear the shit and just move on, right?
Yeah.
And not dwell on stuff.
I can't remember who it was that told me this. Oh, it was Shakir actually. It was a conversation I was having with Shakir. You remember him?
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sharing with me a young kid, a young employee that a partner or something that he was working with, and he was super successful. And we were talking about like what makes somebody successful. And he said, what makes somebody successful is their ability, the gap, the time frame from shit hitting the fan, something horrible happening to you, and the
Mm-hmm.
time it takes for you to recover from that and shift your emotions and just move on with it.
Yeah.
That time, the shorter that time is, the more successful you're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the people that stay in that energy of the fucked up thing that just happened. They
Right.
get consumed by it. They allow
Yeah.
their entire energy and being to be consumed by it. And we all deal with it. Like we've all been through it. I've had situations happen to me even recently where it's rocked me for a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
unable to get back into myself. But it's a constant practice and it's a discipline to be able to overcome these challenges, these failures. I mean, we were just laughing about all the different failures that we've had in
Right.
business and in our life, right? Your ability to overcome the failures, the setbacks, the arrows in the back,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and
Yeah.
recover and move on in a
Yeah.
positive light, moving forward towards your goals and your dreams.
Yeah. No
That's what it's
kidding.
about. Having that amnesia, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. And, a lot of, I mean, I work with clients every day that they struggle with that, right? And they struggle with, and I'm not one of these university guys and that kind of thing, but there's an element of truth to some of that, right?
Mm,
When it comes to how you perceive your day.
mm,
Because it's like I tell my kids all the time, you're in control of your day. You're gonna decide how you get a feel today, right?
that's true.
So you can either take the kindness is free approach and happy, free, and go lucky, or I'm just gonna eat shit sandwiches all day and be pissed off about something, right? So I mean,
Either way, you're
either
going to be
way,
fed shit sandwiches one way or
right?
another.
It's coming no
Yeah,
matter what,
it's
right?
coming no matter what. It's how you handle it.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
just how you deal with stuff.
Yeah.
And that's anything in life, though. Business, personal, relationships. It's like marriages, right? Marriages are work. Kids are work. There's no magic bullet for any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you just got to go through it. And it's like, I think in a lot of ways, you kind of fumble your way through life a little bit. And
Hmm.
maybe there's somebody that, gives you a little boost and helps you here and there. And then you fumble some more. And then you punt. And then, and then they get a kick return and you lose. And then it's the next day. Wash, rinse, repeat. And there's some wins in there.
It is. And I gotta say though, the wins, man, I gotta say the wins make up for all the losses,
Absolutely.
you know?
100%. I mean, I was thinking one day about like a failure to win ratio.
Yeah.
Right? And me and Erica were sitting upstairs one day. We were kind of just writing down, well, what's all the stuff we've failed at and all the stuff we've won at? And it came down to about 13. It was like 13 losses to one win. Right. So, but I mean, that's like life, business,
Yeah.
everything. Right. So it just goes to show you, you know, life, business, not this, everybody's playing the band and everything's great. And, you know, it might be a little bit, and then somebody fucking throws a hand grenade in the middle of the parade.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's 15 years of running a business, man. Ups and downs.
Hmm.
Ups and downs and sideways. I mean, we were on top of the world and we were at the bottom. We've been
Yeah.
upside down, right side up, all over the place in 15 years. Like I would love to hear a story of some business 15, 20, 30 years where it's just smooth sailing for the whole thing, but I don't think that exists. I can't
That
imagine.
it doesn't exist. No way that exists. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah, because life isn't like that.
I mean, unless you're just a trust fund baby and you don't care about money.
You could just keep
You could just
funneling money into
you
the
can
thing.
just keep feeding failure.
That's no fun.
I know some people like that
Yeah.
though. No doubt about that. Well, you know, so kind of regressing back a little bit to, your upbringing and stuff. Like that whole entrepreneurship journey that you started. I mean, how the hell did that even get fueled though?
Well, I've got to say that I think it was in me, right?
Yeah, right.
So because I remember as a kid in like high school or junior high or something like that, me and this other friend, Ernie, we started a t-shirt printing business in high school.
I
And
remember the story.
we actually bought a printing press like for the t-shirts and stuff, and it was in my basement. And we got two accounts, I think, from that. We didn't really make much money or anything like that, but that was the first sort of venture. And with him, we had a couple of other things that we tried. So there was always that spirit of entrepreneurship, I think, and also that mentality of I'm not going down the corporate path.
Mm,
That mentality, I think that was that entrepreneurial spirit that I'm going to create something on my own. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this path looks like. And when I was introduced to network marketing, I was actually 19 the first time I saw a presentation. And the guy on the board was drawing the circles and talking about leverage. And he talked about the concept of leverage,
hmm.
that I would rather have the 1% effort of 100 people than 100% effort of one person. And that concept stuck in my head, that understanding of leverage. That was a huge light bulb where I understood how business worked.
Yeah.
Because up until that time, it was just a job, right? Like I understood that you go to work and you get paid. I worked at Pizza Hut at that time. I moved my way up the corporate ladder from dishwasher to server and
Right.
shift manager, right? But that's all I'd known. That's all I'd known from my dad, from my mom, from my family. That's all I'd seen as a job. And here was this presentation of what business looks like, being able to leverage other people's effort, other people's time, other people's energy, being able to leverage then other people's money at the same time,
Mm,
being able to leverage money and time and understanding that. So that kind of got me started down that path. Never went very far with it. Ended up with minimum wage jobs for my early 20s until I came back into network marketing around 25, 26. And again, I struggled with it, didn't work for me. And then I discovered direct response marketing. I started studying, oh my God, his name just escaped my mind. A big direct response marketer. He's a legend. He'll probably come back to me at some point. And I started to understand why I was having such difficulty with sales because I didn't understand anything about marketing. And
right.
then that led me to meeting up with a mentor online who was doing a lot of online marketing stuff, affiliate marketing stuff. He was in the high ticket model and he was doing Google pay-per-click. And that's when I started studying Perry Marshall. And
Hmm.
along with this mentor, I started to learn about sales funnels. And this was back in 2006. Sales
Hmm.
funnels, video marketing, and put up my first sales funnel, started my first Google pay-per-click account and started generating leads. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? I'm putting money into this thing and I'm getting leads and I'm making sales.
Yeah.
And by the end of that year, I earned my first six figures in affiliate marketing. And that was the last job. I'd never had a job ever since then, since 2006.
Right.
Um, and then we discovered when I met a couple of partners, I had an idea for a business of our own where we could teach and
Mm,
train the network market. What I saw in the network marketing is here's the thing. All business is solving a problem, right?
hmm.
So I was in the network marketing space at that time and I saw the problem. The problem was that the whole industry was teaching people to do home parties and contact their friends and family. And nobody liked doing that because you feel awkward and weird,
Right.
like I did. And so it's like, well, what if we could actually just market like a real business does,
Right. Instead
right?
of, hey, mom, will you go buy 18 gallons of.
Yeah, like there's got to be a better way, right?
Right.
So I applying what I was learning from Perry Marshall, from
Mm,
direct response marketing. And what was working for us at that point, generating leads, I was like, why don't we just teach network marketers how to market online like we're doing right now and
Mhm.
generating leads. And that was the whole beginning of MLSP at that time in 2008.
Yeah.
And we were one of the first ones to teach that because we got um, a lot of hate from the companies. They're like, you can't do this new school stuff online. Network marketing is about relationships and belly to belly. You can't build relationships online. And it's like dating sites. I don't know, social media. I don't know,
Yeah.
guys. Maybe catch up to the present here. So that was the impetus of starting
Mm,
that company, was essentially just solving that problem for
right.
network marketing distributors, and it just blew up because it was the right time and nobody else was doing it at that time, and there was a real need for people to learn real marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like right time and luck.
Little bit of all of that and
It's
preparation.
and preparation. A little bit of all of that, right?
Yeah, because there was a testimonial for one of the companies I was promoting, affiliate marketing. They showed my testimonial because I made $26,000 in commissions in 6 weeks, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the testimonial they put on their website. Here's Norbert. He made $26,000 in 6 weeks. Whoa, that's so exciting. That's so awesome. What they don't say in that testimonial is the 6 or 7 or 8 years of struggle and failure and getting my
Yeah.
teeth knocked out, learning sales skills, marketing skills, direct response marketing skills, pay-per-click skills, all that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that's the truth. The reality of it is it was 7 or 8 years of learning, of growing, of developing myself, of preparing myself for this opportunity when it showed up.
Yeah. Hell of a lot more than $26,000.
Yeah, ever since then, yes.
Yeah.
That was the beginning. That was the
Right.
beginning.
Yeah. I mean, you think the investment, right? People's always say, you have to be willing to invest in yourself, right? Invest in yourself with mentors or, you know, courseware, all this stuff, right? I mean, the noise is just ridiculous, right? But I guess I prefer, when it comes to mentorship, don't just find a mentor. Find somebody that, number one, obviously they've been there and done that, and that's, you can confirm that some way,
Yeah.
right? And two, you should love them,
Mm.
like really love them to death, right?
I
And
haven't thought of
with
it. I would think respect maybe, but you're saying love.
you should love them to death with bouts of fuck you, right? And I'll tell you why. So one of my mentors, I'll tell you the quick story. He lives next door to me. He's 82. He ran Oracle for years for Larry Ellison. And when we first moved here, which was 7 years ago now, he's an ex-Marine, former Marine. I'm former Army, retired Army. So it was just like fodder talk all the time. And then so every night we watch whatever sports is on a Monday. Whatever sports, we drink a shot, we have a cigar, a beer, and now a glass of port to settle our stomachs. That's the new thing in the last couple weeks.
Got to settle the stomach with this
Yeah,
port here.
right. And so he had this sign, which is over there, and it says, "You're entitled to your wrong opinion," right? And for close to 7 years now, because he's ran multiple Fortune 50 companies of his own, so on and so forth. And he would reference that sign all the time. Hey, you're entitled to your wrong fucking opinion. And the knowledge base that came off of him just like accidentally. It's not like
Yeah.
it wasn't this like mentor mentee type of mentality. We're just neighbors and drinking buddies, right? And so one day he gets up and he's 82 and he starts kind of wandering and waddling over to his bookcase, right? And he comes back and he hands me the sign that's got like coffee stains and shit on it. And it's been on his desk for every company he's ever owned. And he goes, you know what? You've graduated. You're entitled to you're entitled to your wrong opinion now. And he gives me the sign. And although the sign is a piece of wood, the story behind it is just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And he said many times, because Larry never really ran Oracle. He never really did. He just wanted to always be the CEO, say he was the CEO. But
Mm.
he was, he'd walk into Don's office and he'd say something, be like, Larry, go back up to your chair role. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. So if that fucking sign could talk, and so the second half of that is he said, in 5 years when I'm likely gone,
Mm.
you have to find somebody
Mm.
that you can hand that sign off to, right? And tell the story so they understand the story and the history behind that sign. I
Wow.
mean, I mean that's powerful shit, man. I mean, we all spend so much time like, oh, who's our best mentor we've ever had? This, who the best ones I've ever had were? The ones that were just really good friends,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they were willing to just invest a little bit of time into me, and there was no transaction there. The
Mm.
transaction was just, we're friends, let's sit down, have a beer, talk about some shit and shoot the shit, and there'll probably be some really cool stuff that comes out of
Mhm.
it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like that now. It's just like if we're not sharing knowledge and we're always putting a price tag on shit, we're making that's a mistake, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we got to be able to live and do our thing and all that, but sometimes you also got to know when to just go, you know what? I can really see something in you and I want to help you.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing when you can find those people in your
Mm,
life and you just
yeah.
never know. Like this is a neighbor that just
Right.
randomly you happen to move beside that becomes this mentor to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think about that too in my life. Like, yeah, I've hired mentors and coaches,
Yeah,
but
me
I've
too.
definitely had some really interesting mentors just in my life for sure.
Right.
Sometimes just short periods of time in my life
Yeah.
that were able to just put into me what I needed at that time,
Right.
right? And so
Yeah.
I think as if we have any type of experience in business, I think it's important for us to be able to give back in that way too.
Especially to the younger generation,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, this coming week is Boulder Startup Week.
Mm.
And, I like to go to that. It's a lot of tech companies, young founders, no fucking clue what they're doing. I mean, they're really good at building tech, but they really suck at running businesses, right? And it's interesting because I've been doing that Boulder startup now. This will be the seventh year. And some of those kids from 7 years ago are now coming to this doing what I did for them.
Right. Yeah.
And that's some cool shit,
Yeah.
man. To see them pay that forward. Because, I mean, Jesus, we got to really, there's got to be a certain amount of the things we do that we do to pay them forward.
Mm.
And I think we get lost in that sometimes.
And I think that's where the like collaboration and
Yeah.
community and networking is so important. I know you're a big
Right.
proponent of that, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself in that, surrounding yourself, putting yourself in a position where you can surround yourself. Just listening to a podcast and the gentleman was talking about putting yourself in the way of success. It's not about chasing after success. It's
Right.
about just simply positioning yourself in front of success. And what you're talking about there is getting yourself into those communities, into those places, into those networking opportunities, going to those events, meeting the people so that you can surround yourself around some pretty incredible people. I would say that's probably one of the biggest assets that I've built. I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
call it an asset that I've built over the last 15 years apart from my knowledge and my experience, the experiences that I've had and the knowledge and the skills that I've developed, it's the people that I've met.
Yeah.
Like this week, literally, I'm meeting with 3 or 4 different people, yourself being one of them, who I see as mentors in
Mhm.
different ways, in different areas. And I have an opportunity to learn things from these people this week that are going to help my company and help my business and help me in the future. And it was all because I got to meet them
Yeah.
through networking and through
Hmm.
events and through running this business. And that's, you can't put a price tag on that.
Absolutely not. You
Yeah.
absolutely can't. And
Yeah.
there's all that like exterior knowledge, right? So like I had Robert Kiyosaki on the show.
Yeah,
And
right.
and I mean that was a wild ass show, I will tell you. Um,
Is
there's
there an
an
unedited version somewhere on the internet?
there is an unedited version which I will save him from himself until he dies. But
He's got some opinions, doesn't he?
yeah, to say
It's
the
good.
least.
It's
But
good. Strong opinions are important.
yeah, for sure. But my rule of thumb is if my wife can't listen to it, I'm not going to put it out. But you take all of the distillation of all of those different lessons, right? From those folks, right? And if you just truly paid attention and you went through every single like person that's ever done something great, right?
Hmm.
Not even great. They've done something good, right?
Hmm. Fair
And
enough. Yeah.
and you just distilled one lesson from each one of those people. Think how farther ahead you could be.
Yeah.
If you'd have had that, rewind that to eight when you were 18 years old,
Yeah.
you know? For me, when I was 18, all I cared about was drinking beer and kissing girls. So, which was tough for me because I grew up in a small town and had a class of 12 and we were all related. So third cousins were okay. but but man, think of the leg up that people could have if they just paid a little more attention,
Hmm.
you know, and listened.
Hmm.
And one of my mantras this last couple years has been kindness is free. I tell my kids that every day before they go to school. Kindness is free. Remember that every day. And if we lead with that in life and we lead with that in our businesses, man, we just try too fucking hard sometimes. And
Hmm.
when you try really hard, it seems like that's when the most failure happens.
Well, that's interesting. We can get all philosophical here for a
Oh,
second, right?
sure. Yeah, sure.
Because
Why not?
we're sitting in the war room here. Number
Yeah.
one, we're
Right.
talking about business and life as, full of challenges. It's almost like a
Mm-hmm.
battle. It's almost like a war front.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of take these two perspectives. Like, is life a battle? Is life a war? Is business a war? Or could it be something else? And here you are, a military man. You
Mm-hmm.
understand war, you understand business, you understand the struggle and the fight that it can be. And yet here you are talking about kindness. Here you are
Yeah.
talking about relationships. Here you are talking
Right.
about pouring into people for free. So there's a little bit of a socialist in there. I swear. So my question to you is this philosophical question. I How do we balance,
Mm.
right? The
Yeah.
battle
Right.
with the kindness in business and in life.
Yeah, it's a little Disney mixed with psychopath.
I think about that all the time. Honestly, it does.
Yeah.
It
No,
is
no,
something that I think about all the time because
it's
I
a
feel that
struggle.
blend. Yeah, I feel
Hmm.
that blend within myself as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like, peace, manifestation. I bring abundance to me, and at the same time, hustle and grind, hustle and grind, hustle and
Right.
grind.
Right. Right. Yeah, and you look at a lot of that, right? And some of it is just shit we don't see. right? Because I'm not that guy. I'm not the. I met this guy one time and he was all about manifesting this shit. And I was like, manifest me a fucking helicopter in the parking lot, man.
Let's go. Put it to
Let's
the
go.
test.
Come on. Let's go. I'm going to give you the ultimate test. Right. But I think there's a difference between that kind of stuff and mindset.
Mm.
Those
Mhm.
aren't the same thing.
Right.
Because I can wake up in the morning and be jazzed about what I'm going to do and have a positive day,
Hmm.
or I can wake up in the morning pissed off about something from yesterday
Right.
and my day is just shit, right?
Hmm.
So mindset matters for sure. And then it's how we just compartmentalize all those things throughout the day, right? And I've learned how to do that really well because of combat tours and all that kind of shit. So it's just like you have to learn how to compartmentalize business, life, all of it, right? And there's nothing easy about it. But at the end of the day, you know, if you can't be happy with what's going on in your world, man, you got to step back a little bit. You know, if you're living the grumpier old man model,
Right.
you got to step back and just sometimes realize that, wow, you know what? I probably am already laying down in my grave right now,
Mm.
years wise, right?
Hmm.
So, or I'm at least sitting up at least. And I mean, holy shit, we're 50, man.
Yeah.
It's not
Easy
like
there.
there's a lot of
Easy.
years. It's not like there's a lot of years left in the grander scheme of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to find that little bit of shred of, being able to be balancing it all. I don't believe in work-life balance. I think they're one and the same. Life and work intermingle. There's no balance in between the two. Um, but it's just how you turn it off in the moment.
Mm.
And I've had to get really good at, we have this key box. And during dinner, everybody locks their shit in a key box. So there's no electronics, right? And, those little things like that, or take it back to when we were kids and
Right.
we didn't have cell phones. We didn't
We
have all
didn't.
that shit, right?
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
have cartoons 24/7. We had 2 hours on a Saturday.
That's right. Saturday mornings.
Right. So it's like sometimes you got to like try to knock the whole model back to that
Yeah.
and just try to figure out how you can best control that whole thing. It's not easy, that's for sure, especially in a day where, especially kids, right? I mean, if you don't let them be a part of technology, they're going to be behind, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you got to let them be a part of technology, but where does it end?
Hmm.
Right? And it's the same in business. Is we've got AI, we've got all this stuff, and it's just constantly hammering us in the head all the time. It's like, here's this AI tool, here's that AI tool, plug this into your ass and see what that does, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
um,
That's an interesting balance, right? Accepting technology, being on the cutting edge of things, and then at the same time having those boundaries.
yeah, right.
Right.
Well, I think also, so you got to kind of lead your. I think there's, the leading edge, and then there's the bleeding edge,
Mm.
right? The bleeding edge is where innovation happens. So that's not some place you want to live out there very long.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But we all have to live out there a little bit. Otherwise, we never create anything new.
Mm.
Then stuff just gets stagnant, right? So I look at you hear people say, "Oh, we're on the cutting edge or the leading edge of business." Okay, well, you just got the next white labeled thing from Bob, right? What's the bleeding edge thing that you created? Like, did you create a fucking rocket booster that would come back out of space and land itself? That's on the bleeding fucking edge right there.
Yeah.
When
And
NASA couldn't even figure that out.
yeah. And there's a lot of risk in that space. So
Oh yeah.
I don't think everyone's cut out for
Yeah.
that space, for the bleeding edge. I would
Totally.
say that most business owners and most entrepreneurs, I think you're probably good on the leading edge, on the cutting edge, because I don't know if everyone's cut out for the
Yeah.
bleeding edge. I think those are some pretty special people that take it out that far.
Yeah. It's a rough place to live. I've been
Yeah,
out there a few times and didn't stay out there very long.
right.
That's for sure. Because, yeah, you know what? The world is a rough place, especially in business. And I mean, people love business, but the truth is it's brutal, right? You know, your competitor don't care about you. So
The
it's
market doesn't care
the
about
market
you.
doesn't care about you, right? If you can't solve my problem, go fuck yourself. What I don't care about you, right?
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that really the paradox of life? Just
mm,
I mean, that's the paradox of our existence here. I mean,
right.
many times me and my wife, we sit up at night and we're into, exploring different ideas and thoughts and history, and there's all these new information that's coming out, especially now with the internet, right? People sharing different crazy ideas. And you sometimes just sit back and you wonder, what is this place that we're in? Don't you
Right.
ever wonder,
Yeah.
like, what is
Yeah.
this crazy land that we live
Mm,
in? That we and it's this paradox of the battle and the beauty,
hmm.
right? And that is life,
Right.
right? You think about the chaos of this world today and all the chaos that's happening around us. And then you stop and see the beautiful moments in this world, your kids,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Your kids smile,
Hmm.
little moments that you share with your wife. And it's like within all of this chaos, there's these beautiful moments. And I love what you said earlier. You said moment to moment.
Hmm.
I mean, that's life. Moment to moment, it's getting the victories. Moment to
Right.
moment, it's getting the blessings. Moment to moment, it's showing up as your best self.
Hmm.
It's not going to be 100%. You're not going to be in that place all the time. And understanding that it's moment to moment, that law of rhythm. Like sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're
Hmm.
great, sometimes you're not. And at the same time, you do have a lot of control about how you show up. And that's the mindset piece.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. You have control of how you show up.
How you show up in this
Yeah.
crazy, chaotic
That's
world.
right. That's so true, though, because we have a choice every day, right?
Yeah, as I'm thinking about that in the early years, like during the pandemic stuff that was going on, 2020, 2021, um, I think of myself and I was much more angry at that time during those
Mm,
couple of years because I was really pissed off with everything that I saw in society, for a lot of different reasons. And so I can personally see myself how I was showing up then during those years. Like I
mm,
let that shit affect me.
right.
And it made me show up as not my best self necessarily.
Yeah.
And I see where I am right now. I feel like I'm more in a better position right now to actually create something
Hmm.
positive in the world instead of just reacting to the
Yeah.
negativity in the world.
Yeah.
That's a,
I think a lot of us got sucked into that. I mean, I don't watch TV now hardly ever. If it
yeah.
is, it's cartoons, with the kids, but there was probably, like 3 or 4 months, we just all got paralyzed and sucked into everything that was on the news. And
Yeah.
it just like changed us as people,
It really did. I
you
feel like
know?
it
Yeah.
was a fundamental pivotal shift in our society for sure. Regardless
Yeah.
of how you perceived it, it
Right.
changed all of us.
Yeah, 100%. And it was like, it took a little bit of time. It was like a drug. It was like you get up every morning, you turn the TV on, it's like, oh, today there's another 100,000 people are dead, or whatever. It's like, wake up tomorrow, oh, it's 3,285,000 dead, And it's like you get in this stupid like rhythm of, and then getting yourself out of that is literally like a detox,
Mm,
right? And
Hmm.
then once you detox and step back and go, wow, holy shit, I was letting that control my life.
Yeah,
And I'd have to say that that was most people during that time
for sure.
got stuck in this one way or another,
One way or
right?
another. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
reacting. We were all
Right.
reacting to the
Right.
situation because there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of unknowns.
Right.
And regardless of how you perceive the situation, I know I can speak for myself. We were reacting to what
Mm-hmm.
was happening. We were not
Right.
creating, we were
Yep.
reacting. And I hated that. I hated
Yeah.
being in that place because I've always been an entrepreneur, a creator. I want to focus on the solutions. I want to create something new, something innovative, something different. I want to give into the world. I want to build something positive.
Yeah.
And I got sucked into just reacting again as well. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we've just kind of, as a race of people, humans, I think just up until last year, we're just finally out of it, really.
I agree.
Just kind of talking to other people, and things are like just finally, you hear people say it's the new normal, right?
Yeah.
And, but I think we're finally getting back into what was normal. And because you're seeing people get out now, and like we're going to business conferences, we're doing things, we're not scared to stand in front of somebody and talk to somebody. We're going to, catch the next fucking HIV or whatever,
And
Yeah.
I'm hoping as you're saying that, because I think I agree with you. The big challenge that I saw was just the inability for people to talk to each other because they
Yeah.
had different perspectives. It's like, oh,
Right.
you have that perspective, then you're crazy. You're whatever, right? And so it was just this divide that was created. And I mean, around a lot
Mm,
of different issues, there's division that's being created. Like right now, the Israel-Palestine thing is creating a lot of very
sure.
firm divisions as well. But
Right.
I hope that what all of us can learn through the past 4 years is how unproductive, nothing good comes out of that division and certainty.
Yeah.
I'm right and you're crazy. Nothing good comes out of that. We have to be able to talk to each other, and the media and the government and the politicians, they
Yeah.
all just inflated that and made that worse and worse, where people
Yeah.
like literally here in Canada, I don't know how it was all in the States, but here in Canada, there was a point where they were saying the politicians were telling the citizens, do not meet with your family if they don't agree with with this way of, like, they were literally saying, don't meet with your family.
Wow.
Yeah. The
It's like
politicians were saying that on the media, on the news, or don't
it's,
invite them for Thanksgiving.
it's like Scientology or some shit.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, are we in a cult? And I can't talk to my dad now?
Couldn't help it. I had to go there. Go hang out with Tom Cruise for a while.
Oh, you might learn a thing or two.
Might learn a thing or two about a thing or two, like
Yeah.
the Allstate commercial.
It's good. I think you're right, though. I do feel like
Oh,
we've gotten out of that because I see a lot more people that are now
yeah,
having conversations.
right.
I watched an interview of Cuomo. Do you remember Cuomo on CNN?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Those two had a conversation together. Did you ever think you'd ever see that? Chris Cuomo and Tucker
No,
Carlson? I mean, they were on
absolutely
complete
not.
polar opposites of the political spectrum. And here they
Yeah.
are sitting down for a 3 hour conversation. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
things have
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Well,
That's good to see.
even you look at the business dynamic of things, I see how much, just right down to the small mom and pop, right?
Mm.
That's small pizza shop downtown. They made it through all of that. So we have a little pizza shop we go to every Friday. And, we're huge supporters of them. We supported them through COVID by ordering and picking up and doing
Yep.
all that kind
Yep.
of stuff, right? All the time. And, like now you can really see how they've shifted, right?
Mm.
The whole shift in a lot of these businesses is far different than it. I think a lot of things are perceived differently now when and it's more of a creative thing, I think, because
Mm.
I remember this. It was a restaurant in New York, and they somehow found me somewhere and called, and they were like, we're about to close our doors, and we're just looking for somebody that can maybe just share an
Something.
idea,
Yeah.
something. Like we're whipping a fucking jar, man, at this point, right? We just found you. And so I said, well, how about we try this? I said, do curbside pickup, a free margarita, and a roll of toilet paper. Because they had a huge storage room. This was during the toilet paper shortage, right?
Oh my God.
Had this huge room. I mean, just thousands. Who the fuck keeps thousands of rolls of toilet paper, right? And I got a call back like 2 months later, and they were like, you know what? We don't even know how we could possibly repay you because that one piece of advice right there saved our business. Free margarita, their meal, and a roll of fucking toilet paper. Everybody ordered from them. I mean, everybody down the street probably went out of business, but they're not the ones that called me, so it didn't matter.
See, it's all who you know.
That's right.
That I love that ingenuity. And I think a lot of people learn through every great crisis, there's great opportunity, right? And with
Yeah.
that come those lessons. We shifted ourselves as well. We were doing really well with in-person workshops.
Hmm.
In Austin, Texas. We had them in a few different cities, but mainly in Austin, Texas. And so we'd have people come out, fly out, drive out. I would be flying down into Austin every few months, and we were doing these workshops, and they were the main source of a lot of our revenue. And so when COVID hit and travel mandates, all of a sudden we were like, oh my God. And the big thing about our workshops is they were really interactive. Like we
Hmm.
were working with people closely and they were walking out of that workshop generating leads for the business. That was the whole focus and the outcome
Right.
of that workshop. So we were like, okay, obviously we got to do this virtual now, but how are we going to recreate that in-person mentorship that we were giving these people in person in a workshop in a small setting? It was like 25 people in a class basically. How can we recreate that virtually? And we sat with that question and we figured it out. We put the team together and we figured it out and we moved it online. We went virtual. And our first workshop, we had 4 times as many attendees. We had 4 or 5 times the revenue out of that
Mhm.
workshop, and everyone left with positive experience.
Yeah.
So we were still able to maintain the same customer experience, but we quadrupled our revenue and our service.
Right.
And that's the model we've been running ever since 2020 is
Yeah.
the virtual workshop model. So with every crisis comes
Got
great
out on
opportunity.
you got out on that bleeding edge for a minute.
Yeah, that's right. Just needed that moment.
That's right. Sometimes we just need that moment anyway,
Yeah.
right? Because we get stagnant. We get stagnant. We don't innovate, and then we just watch this. That's why startups are so fun, right? But so you get like 5, 10 years in, it's just this even thing, and it's kind of boring, and you're just doing the same shit all the time. And then you're like, I'm gonna start a new business, and it's like, wow, right?
But you know what? I said that to my partner. I said that to Brian a couple weeks ago. We were texting each other, and I said,
Uh,
dude, I think we just got soft and lazy.
yeah.
Like, because we actually have to work now.
I mean, it's easy to get soft and
It
lazy.
is 15 years in a business. You got teams running stuff.
Right,
The money's just coming in. You don't have to innovate. There isn't that need to
right,
innovate. Right now, he's on sales calls. He hasn't done sales calls in years.
right.
And he's talented. Like he is so good. The numbers are insane on his sales
Yeah,
calls. But he's in the trenches, right?
right.
For me right now, I'm creating my own content on Instagram right now. Like I'm in the trenches actually creating content. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I should have been doing this years ago, but I was just soft and lazy. I didn't have to." So it's good.
Uh,
Yeah, it's absolutely good when you get faced with a challenge,
hmm.
when you get forced into that position, that challenge, because I think it's the world just telling you, it's God telling you, hey, you got soft and lazy. it's time to get back on the horse here and
Yeah,
develop some new skills and take this to the next level. Because
that's right.
if you want to take it to the next level, there's going to be growth involved,
Mm-hmm.
and growth involves pain and struggle and challenge. I mean, I
Yeah.
know military training, I could just imagine the growth that happened, and
Yeah.
it's painful as all hell,
Yeah. It's a
right?
fine line between hard and stupid.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But the same thing in anything that's worth anything, right? You think about your fitness, you think about,
Mm-hmm.
gaining strength, weightlifting, getting faster, all
Right.
of it. Any type of growth in that realm is going to take some pain and some challenge and some hard work.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything worth doing that's not hard?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I mean, because there's nothing that I've ever done in my life that I didn't have success in that I look back and it wasn't hard
Hmm.
to a degree, right?
To a degree. Yeah.
You know, even, I mean, it's not like you met your wife, that's your wife today. You met her today and went, yep, we're going to get married in 3 hours. Right? It's not how that shit works. That was hard. You had to get some flowers and some chocolates here and there and do some stuff. And, you know,
It
all
takes
that takes work.
it takes work, yeah. And then even
Yeah.
harder work to keep it going.
Yeah, right. That then the years go by, and then that's when it gets more challenging with
Yeah.
business, with
Again, because we get soft and lazy typically,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. For
And then
sure.
it's like, oh, maybe I need to put some effort into this again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, man, holy crap, that was a diatribe right there. And
I had a feeling that this was just going to be a conversation that goes all over the
yeah,
place.
man. Of course. That's the way it when you get with old friends, that's how it ends up happening.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's like you got to spend an hour just catching up.
It's fun. It's a good time. I enjoy these, and hopefully some people enjoyed listening to this
Uh,
and got some tidbits out of it as well.
well, let's give them a couple of things
Yes. Yeah.
that if you could look back through your business experience, either one, right? What would be two or three, mainstay pieces of advice you could give to a new founder, or hell, an old dude like you and I?
Yeah. The first one is kind of more for maybe the people kind of earlier on in their journey, although
Mm,
it might still be relevant to somebody far on their journey, because we sometimes fall into roles. We fall into a business or we fall into a role, but it's not necessarily the best place for us. And
mm,
I would say it is so important to really get clear on who you are, what your strengths, gifts, and talents are, and how you can best use those in business.
mm.
I always reference and recommend people check out Roger James Hamilton and his wealth dynamics test. It's the one
Yeah.
personality test that, for me, he basically describes the business game as 8 different games, 8 different personality types. And he says there's essentially 8 different ways, 8 different games that you can play to create wealth. And you got
Mhm.
to know which is your game. Because it's like taking a basketball player, like you take LeBron James and you put him on a football field, not going to work out that well.
Yeah.
Okay. You take Warren Buffett and you try to have him, model Oprah Winfrey, not going to work out that
That
well.
ain't gonna work out.
Right. So, what I realized from my past, like all the struggle and failure, was me trying to be somebody that I'm not.
Mm,
And when I finally started doing the things that were actually aligned with my goal, with my strengths, man, I took off. You look at my history, I struggled and failed for like 6 or 7 years in sales and marketing, all that kind of stuff. And then when we hit this company, 2.2 million our first 12 months. Like literally we were in profit 30 days. Like it was just like, whoa, he got lucky. And it's like, no, I didn't get lucky. There was a ton of preparation, and I managed to put myself in a role and in a position where I was fully leveraging all my strengths, gifts, and talents.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's why the results showed themselves. So if you're at all unclear or uncertain, or you're not feeling like you're fully leveraging your strengths and talents, take a moment and go check out that personality test and make sure that you align yourself and align your role in your business with your goal, strengths, and talents. So that'd be the first one, because that's kind of the foundation, I think.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you can be running around in circles and struggling
Yeah. Well,
for a
it's
long
easy.
time.
It's easier to be yourself too
It's way easier.
than to try to
Hey,
be somebody else, right?
yeah,
I mean, I, you and I have both seen this year after year after year back in some previous things we were a part of, is a lot of people trying to be something that they're not, right? And oh man,
doesn't
I
work.
totally get that 100%.
Yeah,
When you
it does.
just embrace your true damn self, finally, it's amazing the shit that happens
Yeah. Yeah.
for
So
sure.
that's number one. You got to get that down. Um, and then the second thing, man, is I don't know if it's just because I'm a Capricorn, and apparently this is a trait of Capricorns. You think about it, a Capricorn is a goat, right? A mountain goat,
Uh,
and a mountain goat just climbs mountains, and that's kind of
sure.
what I do. Like, uh, you cannot have quitting as an option,
Hmm.
right? Like for me, if I don't hit a goal, I just reset the parameters of that goal, right? Whether it's extending the time frame or it's reevaluating the goal and shifting the goal a little bit. But there is
Hmm.
no, I didn't get my goal. I didn't
Right.
get my goal yet.
Hmm.
What do I need to shift? What do I need to change so that I can hit that goal? Right.
Right.
So you've got to get quitting and failure completely out of your mind, because there's no such thing unless you stop.
Right.
Persistence, tenacity is the key to success in business. Because, like the whole theme of what we talked about here today was that challenges are inevitable, difficulties are inevitable. Dude, I woke up, we didn't even talk about this. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I woke up in January and the vision in my right eye was blurry.
Mm.
And apparently, I've got something called Nion,
Huh.
and it's uncurable. It's basically like a mini stroke in my right eye that happened.
Jeez.
It's crazy. Like it's so bizarre. Like I'm now living with this, and I've adjusted to life with this. But literally, man, things just happen out of the blue in your life.
Hmm.
It's just a part of life, and it's how you face that challenge
Right.
and what you do with it, right? Like I could be really upset about this. For me personally, I'm just so grateful that it's not something worse,
Right.
right? Because I could have woken up and one morning and been paralyzed on one side. Like, who knows?
Right.
At least I can still see color and light and shape, and I'm not bumping into walls. I can still snowboard and mountain bike, so I'm fine.
When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
It's all we can do. It's all we can do. That's the only thing that we have control over,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Man, good advice, brother, for sure. Tell the audience how to find you guys. What's
Yeah.
website, all that good stuff.
Digitalmentors.com is the company website, and we've got some free resources and training for people. We've got like an AI compass. We do free workshops right now, as well, just teaching people the basics of how do I take my knowledge and how do I build an online digital mentorship business with that. And then also on social media, my personal website is norbertonline.com. Not using my last name because that's impossible to spell. So norbertonline.com is my personal website. You can get some free resources from there. And then all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool. Well, I always like to kind of draw down the show with because I don't ask a lot of questions, but this one's been it's always intrigued me because the answers are so far and wide. And it's, if you could have invited anybody here today with us to be on the show, dead or alive, any point in time of history, doesn't matter. Who would have you loved to have here and why them? I know it's
And
a
I could,
deep question.
yeah, it is a deep question, and you know what? I've thought of four people honestly, and I don't know which one to say because there's one for all of it. Um, man, I lost my dad about 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Mm,
And I would have to say that if I had one more opportunity to have a conversation with him now, being
Yeah.
who I am today, um, I would want to have one last conversation with my dad.
Yeah. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
No doubt. It's better than
There's
Elon Musk.
there's so much that, and this is the message for anybody that still has both their parents alive. There's so many things that I wish I had talked to him about, so many things
Yeah.
that I wish I had said to him, so many things that I wish I could say to him now. Um, don't take it for granted, man. Don't take it
Yeah.
for granted. And the loved ones that you have in your life, man, cherish every moment that you have with them.
Comes down to that. We're only here this long. It's a blip,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In the bigger, grander scheme of things, right?
yeah.
So look at the Earth is 1 billion years old and we lived to 80 something. I mean,
What a
shit.
joke.
God, what a joke, man.
What is this place?
Yeah, we're just like fleas on the wall. We're nothing at all. Just
But I'm
speck.
so important.
Yes, I'm
Jason,
so
I am
important.
so important.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and god darn it, people like me. And if you're a Gen Z, you don't get that. Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, hey man, it was fun. It was great having you on the show. It was great to catch up again. And yeah, it's good stuff, man.
My pleasure.
All right. Cheers, brother.
Thanks for listening to War Room Moments with your host, Jason Miller. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.